Episode 6 of Televised Carnage, Rutherford will face off against Team Miyazaki. First up, the militaristic Rutherford team sponsoring Firestorm and Steel Rain. This team's bringing the big guns. Firestorm is a medium-weight truck able to carry a 125mm cannon. That, coupled with the loader perk, is going to allow this vehicle to hit with D8 dice on a 3+. Steel Rain is equipped with 2 front-mounted miniguns. The Deadeye perk is also going to allow this weapon to hit with D8 dice on a 3+. Their opponents this week are the daring drifters from Tokyo, Team Miyazaki, with Shadow, Blackjack, and Midnight. Shadow is the primary racer for this team. He's equipped with a turret-mounted machine gun, and he's going to show off his driving skills with Power Slide and Restraint. Backing him up today are the Buggies, Midnight and Blackjack, both equipped with forward-mounted rockets. For 11 cans each, these bring much-needed firepower to this team. The rules for Death Race are simple. Drive through the gates in order and be the first one to cross the finish line. Weapons don't activate until Gate 1. Kicking the game off, we're going to start with Turn 1 Gear Phase 1 and all vehicles selecting their first movement. Firestorm runs into the back of Shadow, both declaring evades, before we move on to Turn 1 Gear Phase 2 and vehicles selecting their next movement. Firestorm sideswipes Midnight, causing them to take 3 hull points of damage, before Blackjack wipes out from running into the arena sign, taking 3 hull points of damage themselves. Turn 1 Gear Phase 3, all active vehicles close in on Gate 1. As Shadow crosses the line, he misses shots at Firestorm before moving on to Turn 1 Gear Phase 4. After selecting movements, Steel Rain T-bones Midnight, dealing a lethal amount of damage and causing them to become a smoking hulk on the battlefield. As Shadow moves up, he uses his machine gun to deal 3 hull points of damage to Firestorm, before Firestorm unleashes devastation with his cannon, dealing 4 hull points of damage and causing him to wipe out. Failing his flip check, he takes 2 more hull points of damage and moves a medium straight forward. In Turn 2 Gear Phase 1, all vehicles move before moving on to Turn 2 Gear Phase 2 and vehicles selecting their next movement. As Steel Rain turns the corner, he gets a bead on Shadow, using his miniguns to deal 2 hull points of damage and taking out the Miyazaki lead vehicle. Catching up from behind, Blackjack gets a bead on Steel Rain and uses his rockets to deal 2 hull points of damage. In Turn 2 Gear Phase 3, Team Rutherford has a serious lead, before moving on to Turn 2 Gear Phase 4 where the action continues. As Blackjack advances, he launches another volley of rockets, dealing 2 more hull points of damage before being T-boned by Firestorm and taking 2 hull points themselves. In Turn 2 Gear Phase 4, both teams have 1 active vehicle moving forward. In Turn 3 Gear Phase 1 is anyone's game. As Blackjack advances, he launches his last salvo of rockets at Steel Rain, dealing a lethal amount of damage and taking out the Rutherford lead vehicle. Getting sweet revenge, Firestorm uses his 125mm cannon to devastate Blackjack, taking out the last Miyazaki vehicle. With audience votes, Team Miyazaki respawns Shadow. The only question now is, can this performance car close the gap? In Turn 3 Gear Phase 2, Team Miyazaki has a lot of ground to cover. Able to get a bead on Firestorm, Shadow deals 2 more hull points of damage before moving on to Turn 3 Gear Phase 3. This skillful driver is able to use Power Slide and a spin to line up more shots on Firestorm, dealing 3 hull points of damage. In Turn 3 Gear Phase 4, Shadow shows off his driving skills once again with Power Slide, lining up shots but unfortunately missing. In Turn 4 Gear Phase 1, both active vehicles cross Gate 2 before Team Rutherford respawns Steel Rain, who slides off to the side, before moving on to Turn 4 Gear Phase 2. With the finish line in sight, all vehicles floor it. Shadow takes a couple more shots at Firestorm, dealing 2 hull points of damage, before being T-boned by Steel Rain, who takes out the last Miyazaki vehicle and their only hope at victory. With the burning hulk of Shadow in his rearview mirror, Firestorm crosses the finish line, bringing victory to Team Rutherford. Congratulations, Rutherford, on your explosive victory. You proved that driving skills don't matter when you're a burning pile of wreckage. Well, that's it for Episode 6 of Televised Carnage. Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe for future episodes of Televised Carnage. If you're enjoying Televised Carnage, please consider liking, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps a small channel like mine grow.